How is it going? My name is George Bell. I go by the pronouns he, him, his. I am a third year communication major here at Chico State with a minor in multicultural gender studies. And I'm a inclusion coordinator at the Cross Cultural Leadership Center. So look, we all been waiting on this event, and I've been waiting, I'm really excited. So today we are at the Cross Cultural Poetry Jam. It's late night. Everyone grab their drink. Let's just unwind a bit. We're all in search of times to relax. Through these stress-filled times, we're all looking for ways that we can relax. And I want to take the time to present this event and acknowledge the resilience of our students to bounce back in times of adversity and continue to grow to benefit themselves, their families, and their communities. Tonight, we have some fantastic Wildcats here to share an original spoken word piece with us all. I hope we're all excited. But before we get started, I would like to give my right-hand man and our other MC of the night a chance to introduce himself.
What's up, everyone? My name is Steve Vilka. I'm a third-year student here at Chico State as well. My major is psychology with a minor in multicultural studies. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I am the male engagement paraprofessional at Wildcat Safe Place. I'm really excited to be here alongside with George to put together, this amazing event that we have planned for y'all tonight. Before we get started with our event, though, I do want to acknowledge and just give and highlight and just give a big shout out to all our partners that helped make this event possible tonight. I just like to give a big shout out to our associated students, Wildcat Safe Place, and our very own Wildcat Counseling Center. Without the work that they've been doing behind the scenes and with us, this event would not be possible tonight. So we really want to highlight and, just give them a big shout out for this amazing event that we have for y'all tonight.
Most definitely. Thank you, Steve. Like Steve said, we're going to get right into it. We're going to get our first performance going. But before we do that, I want to set a quick warning. Some works shared tonight may contain words or language that are considered profane by some people. The views and opinions expressed are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Chico State. So now, since we got the business out the way, let's get right into it with a virtual poem from our truly, a sophomore from Sacramento, California, in a psychology major. And she also is a minor in multicultural gender studies. And her name is Ari Punter, performing her work called Embrace Your Background. See if we get the video popped up for y'all. Get it started. Let's go. Yeah. I'm having trouble hearing the audio. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, Ivan, can you just unmute? Yeah, I think you just have to unmute.
And I would tell you that it's a prime example of segregation.
Let's go ahead and start it over.
And a prime example of white superiority. Think about it. The features that exist naturally on a Black woman's body is glorified on a white woman's body. Our natural features are considered blessings to those who aren't of color. A white woman can sit in a tanning bed hour after hour, get lip injections month after month, yet when a Black woman's got it natural, they're constantly being attacked. Being attacked for the hourglass figure, being attacked for the big lips, being attacked for the big hair or braids. Yeah, because having an afro in class is distracting to the people. Yeah, because having box braids, let me mind you, a protective hairstyle for Black women is ghetto. And God forbid walking into the work industry with box braids, but then on a white woman, it's cute. A perm on a white woman is cute. So let's think about that. Time and time again, I mention Black femininity because it's a beautiful thing when we own it, but it has been taken from our communities, it's been ripped from our identities, and in return has been glorified on white skin. Our features have become fetishisms and our culture has been turned into popularity. You see, the racial diversions we have now are critical infrastructure for what's yet to come. So that is my poem. I'm not quite sure what I want to title it yet, but I have my friend helping me record right now, and she's going to ask me some of the questions.
What inspired you to write this poem?
So like I said before, this was at the beginning of the BLM protests, and I was speaking a lot. I'm involved with a lot of BLM orgs in Sacramento. And so, late night, I just decided to write this, and I actually shared it with the community there.
Do you often share poetry, and how is it for you to share your poem today?
I kind of share my poetry a little bit more on social media than I do in person. Of course, it's not as personal because I'm not physically there with y'all to share it today, but it's something that I definitely enjoy doing.
And lastly, what would you like listeners to take away from this piece?
If there's anything that I want y'all to take away from this piece, it's to embrace whatever cultural background you come from, but especially Black women. If you want to wear a protective hairstyle, wear that protective hairstyle. Use every right that you are given, and don't let anybody take that from you.
Definitely. Oh, that was powerful.
Powerful.
Powerful. Thank you to Ari, for, even though she couldn't come and make it and be able to perform live for y'all, she still, wanted to publish some. I really appreciate that. Definitely. So this is the time. This time that we all been waiting for. Our first live performer of the night. So I would like everyone to give a round of snaps. First performer is Eliana Juliet from Vina, California, will be performing their work called From Ode to Oreo.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so today I'm going to read to you an ode for Oreo. Oh, Oreo, my mother is afraid of you, but your braille tells of my childhood, when my body wasn't a bug pinned down with calculated facts, but instead was a snow-grabbed skin with a sweet tooth smile. Tells of a living room, with my twin's thoughtful gift, his hands magically full of you, 2 large magician stacks. How crumbs live forever in that young couch, a questing dog left to sniff them out. Tells of friends rolling snowmen out of icing instead of eating, the dark leftovers cascade to my mouth, a rumble of sweetest debris. Unpacked, you were the king of our school lunches and beloved by your subjects. Oh, Oreo, I had a friend, the crush of my child world, and she had loved you, even as a birthday gift. So that was my pact. Did your number crunchers ever know that we had your secret recipe? Whenever I spy your box, I see a busy oven on a wintry weekend. We bake hundreds of you, each part like a Lego waiting to be stacked. No need for the same schematic. You are often many cookies high. Others fit you into their mold, but we unrestrained you. Be thin or thick. We carved our letters into your estate. Never underestimate your impact. You were our rising hopes and lighthearted days, and it was good. You see, she always joked that she'd be a happy fat CEO of a cookie company. So we spend a whole day exploring in your shape with our flour compact. You were baked in our image with coagulated icing. Some say it was a sin, but you were different when we made you, innocent. Sometimes we waited for you to self-actualize into a stiffer, crisper snack, but then we never liked to keep you waiting. Thanks, my dudes.
That was great.
Thanks.
Elena, awesome.
Very creative, very creative.
Definitely.
That works.
So before you leave, I would like to deep dive into, why you created this poem and ask you just a few questions.
Okay, I'm down.
Awesome. So, what message of hope did you pull from this piece that you shared?
That it's okay to, eat a cookie every once in a while and remember your childhood and have a moment. Like be really mindful the next time you have something sweet for me and just like see what it's like in your mouth and like just instead of like doing it while you're doing homework or anything else, just like have a moment. And if you can, like have one friend, maybe two, come over and bake something because there's nothing better.
Definitely. So, what was the process of developing this poem?
So I'm English education major, and I was in a creative writing course, a beginner's creative writing course, and like they wanted us to write an ode for something, and I I wanted to write something really personal, and I was going through my kitchen. I was like, oh yeah, I used to bake Oreos as a kid. That'd be cool. And yeah, that's what really brought it to mind for me.
Hmm. You you speak of saying that you made Oreos as a kid and things like that. So, what was going on for you to write this poem?
So I wanted it to have a certain shape. If you read it, it's all like 3-line stanzas. And so, and I made the middle part rhyme in every stanza. So they're like their own little Oreo stanzas. Um, yeah, that took forever. And like a lot of it got done like as I was in the waiting room, like, oh yeah, I gotta remember to get that right. Cause I misspelled like magician in there. So it's an ever working process.
That's so creative to think
Yeah.
of Oreo and then pattern that after your poem. Wow. So, what inspires you?
Mm. First thing comes to mind is my friends. Hi Natalie. Um, yeah, and I don't know. Mostly like when I get really emotional and I need to let it out, I let it out through poetry. And so like the good days and the bad days both inspire my poems.
Definitely, definitely. Well, so how do you last question for you, and then I'll let you split. How do you cultivate inspiration?
Lately I heard someone say like the enemy of being done is perfectionism. And so like realizing that to get inspiration for something, you have to make a bunch of mistakes to get there really helps me. Especially because I am so bad about trying to be a perfectionist, like that I'm now pushing the other way.
Mm, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Elena, for your great poem. I appreciate your time. I know that you
Yeah.
might. I know you might actually have another poem that you might be sharing later on if we have time. So I look forward to that. But other than that, great. See you soon. Let's see if we get our next performer out here.
All right, everyone. Thank y'all for your time. We've just heard a great piece for our first one, and that's really what we're just trying to, really have with the focus of this event. Having our performers really be creative and really express themselves. And that was like one of the main things from this event tonight. But for our next performer, we have Jawan Verdel Anderson from Inglewood, California, and he will be performing his work called Dear Mother. So take it away, Jawan. You're muted, Jawan. You good, man?
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Jawan, as Steve mentioned. And yeah, I'm finna dive deep into my poem. Dear Mother, Queen, Creator, beautiful soul, I miss you will never be deep enough for the void left in my soul. My heart has been froze. I feel I have nowhere to go, guiding myself against the ropes within the lenses of hope. I know a beautiful soul never dies. It lives until the next lifetime. My soul cries, knowing that I'll never see you again, knowing all I have is pictures of your skin. I miss you will never be deep enough for the void left in my soul. But I know you live within, so I will never fold. I create opportunities and set goals, which makes me whole. I love you with all my soul, a mother, a creator, a beautiful soul. I miss you will never be deep enough for the void left in my soul. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that piece, Jawan.
That was tight, though. That was
Yeah, I can tell you really expressed a lot with that, and I appreciate you. You know, me and George, we're saying this. What we wanted with this event is, for people to keep it real, and
Mhm.
like we can definitely feel through a lot of that while you were sharing that piece. And now I just kind of just have a few questions just to reflect a little bit about on the work that you just shared. So like my first question for you is like, what was it like for you reading something like this out loud? Like what emotions and thoughts came up for you while reading this?
I think even emotions while I was writing it came up, a sense of sadness, in a sense, as I talked about my mother, but also just a sense of hope and that I will see her again, and that she is with me at all times. So writing this, it kind of bridged the gap of me being with her and having a conversation with her, in my opinion.
No, that's great, man. I'm really happy to hear that you bridge the connection between those things. That's honestly really really powerful. So for another question I have for you is, so like, what is like your creative process like when writing pieces like this?
Really, is I need to be in a, a noise cancellation environment where I can focus and articulate my thoughts well, and also just listening to music. Other music inspires me. Hearing other people talk about their life and their journey, it gives me inspiration to write my own and talk about my own life and my own journeys.
No, totally. That's totally real, man. Like, I mean, since you said like, just hearing other people like, express themselves and share, like, their works. Are there like any poets or any artists specifically that inspire you to really, share these kind of and write these like works that you do?
Yeah, hustle right there. But nah, he's a very just dope artist, very authentic, and his elevation, crazy, and his lyricism. But yeah, he gives me inspiration. He comes from LA, Los Angeles, California, where I'm from, and I think he speaks for us, like speaks to our community, um, and speaks to the entrepreneur ownership, and that's what I'm about, and that's what inspires me.
No, totally, man. That's honestly great that you have someone like that that really inspires you to, be creative and just, do you, which is, the important thing. Um, yeah, my last question for you, Jawan, is so like, what would you like listeners to take away from from the piece that you just read?
Really, life is a marathon. It's gonna come by storm. Things in your life that you might not particularly like, or the hand that you was dealt with. Um, but it's a marathon, and I'm a big believer in faith. And if you have faith towards something, and you put the energy, um, it will happen. Will come true. And yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, I like that, man. Life's a marathon, bro. Keep it real like that.
Yeah,
Appreciate you sharing the work, man, and I just appreciate you, just letting me ask you all these questions, man. I really like what you did. I'm sure George did as well, man. And just
Yeah, bro.
thank you for sharing this,
Great
man. I
job, man.
really appreciate it.
for sure. I thank y'all for putting on this event. I appreciate y'all.
Definitely.
No problem, man.
Thank you, boss. Thank you, boss. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, that was
That
a
was a
great
good one.
piece.
That was a powerful poem. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Definitely.
Really powerful.
So we're gonna go ahead and get on into the next one real shortly. Okay, now with our third performer, Shay Pastrana from the home of the Wildcat, Chico, California, will be blessing the stage with her work called A Pact with Home.
A phoenix with its nest destroyed, a caterpillar without a leaf. The human heart is just a toy when its home is in disbelief. Yes, the grass is greener on the other side, but who in the hell built that fence? I learn forgiveness no matter how hard I try, for the carpenter with unclear sense. The breath is taken with each step you make. A step must be given for each breath you take. When the breath has no more to give, there will still be air, no matter how you lived. If only I could give as much to that air as it gives freely to me, then my heart would take me anywhere, and its home would never leave me. And that's it.
Dope. That was great, Shay. I appreciate that piece. Most definitely. Before you cut out, I got a few questions I would like to ask you just to dive deep into it like we've been doing everyone else. I got you. Let's see. So, what was going on for you as you wrote this poem?
The first verse came to mind when I was gardening. I used to live in Oregon. I was a huge gardener, and I found a dead caterpillar, and it was like trying to spin its chrysalis, and I just felt sad looking at that. And this was during a particularly bad wildfire season. It was in 2016, and there's just a lot of chaos that particular year. So I was just trying to ground myself out and feel okay with, what if I didn't have a home this year? Like, what if I had to move? And this was just my way of trying to ground myself out and kind of feel like home is where the heart is, that sort of cliche.
Definitely, definitely. So within that, do you experience any difference in how you feel presenting this poem now versus how you felt when you first wrote it?
I definitely feel less afraid now, because here I am now in Chico, and I'm still moving around every 2 years. So it seems like it kind of helped keep me reassured. Now when I read it and look over it and hear myself speak it again, it's kind of like almost like a verbal trophy in a way, like you made it, like sort of deal.
So I'm curious, your poem was very beautiful and it seemed like, you're pretty experienced. So what is your creative process when you're writing your poems?
It's usually when I'm just walking around or doing chores. That's usually when my best stuff come to mind. If I try to make myself sit and be creative, it just doesn't happen. So I usually write a lot of notes in my phone for that reason. I'll carry a pen or paper with me, or try to go over it in my head over and over until I get to a pen and paper. But yeah, just everyday tasks usually.
So, are there any specific poets that you get inspiration from?
Not too many modern poetry, unfortunately. I read random things everywhere, but my favorite poets are Rumi, 13th century Persian poet, and Shakespeare, of course.
Interesting. That's dope. So you know the legends. That's great. Yeah. Well, thank you so much again, Shay. I appreciate it. Also, I know that you might be interested in sharing another poem with us later if we have time. So I'll be looking forward to that if you stick around. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. We're moving on through, y'all. This is getting good. Y'all getting, man. Y'all poems are good.
And move on to our next piece for tonight. So for our next performer, she's coming from Sacramento, California, and her name is Nidhi Bhutani, and she'll be doing her piece titled Daughter of the Moon.
All right, thank y'all for having me. I'm just gonna dive right in. Is it as lonely as it seems? I can't be the only one up while the city sleeps. Night by night, the glistening moon peeks through the clouds to greet me. He always hangs there for a moment, but tonight he chooses to meet me, asking if he can offer me some company. Why still awake? He echoes in casual conversation. Hidden during the day in the shadow of the sun's disguise, we have too much in common, so easily he'd catch my lies. So I pay no mind to the troubled sea flowing freely from my eyes. I'm like you, I answer, looking up into the night sky. The universe demands a balance, you see. I can't borrow their light until the city sleeps. I figured you'd understand. You too shine with a light that's none of your own. The craters and dents that cover every inch of your surface, they're hollow like me, my being flowing from a heart utterly wordless. They stay hidden in the daytime, but when the sun sets and the city sleeps, each crack and crevice is visible from miles away. If anyone else was awake at night with their thoughts in the Milky Way. The moon answers gently, his voice traveling through the Pacific breeze. I travel the earth, my dear, you see, observing the deep blue sea, peeking amidst the mountaintops, amongst the rustling trees. I've seen them all, the broken spirits, dying to fly free into the night, dying to live authentically, dying to feel alive. I felt the thoughts of the troubled, so of this I can assure you, you are not the only one at your window in the latest hours a day can hold. One of the ones who feels too much, a heart cut from gold. It's never as lonely as it seems. You are not the only one up while your city sleeps. I've heard the broken melody flowing from your lost soul. So what I tell you next is something I rarely disclose. And just as my craters and dents add to my beauty, your troubles sow embroidery into the fabric of your being. There is no harm in borrowing some light when your reflection seems to fade. There is no harm in breathing your truth and letting some of the pain stay. Daughter of the Moon.
Wow. That was amazing. I just really felt a lot of that. I can tell how creative you were, actually, like just with the many things you were saying. Like that was honestly really beautiful. Like thank you for sharing that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Now we can just I just want to move on and just kind of ask you some questions just to, reflect on, this amazing piece of work that you just shared with us. So like what inspired you to write this poem?
Um, Honestly, I've always been kind of obsessed with the celestial things. I love like the moon and the stars. And even as a little kid, I just always would look up into the stars and get lost in all of these philosophical thoughts. And I was just wondering what it would be like if the moon and I could have a conversation, because I'm an insomniac. So usually when I'm up, not a lot of people are up. So I was like, getting into those thoughts. And I'm like, I wonder what it would be like if the moon and I could have a conversation. And so that's what came out.
That's honestly dope because like I feel you with that because like sometimes I look up in the sky and I'm like it's just crazy just thinking like we can be so small to how big the universe really is with everything that just kind of goes out there, we don't even know at times what like really is happening at times.
Exactly, like how little we are compared to like the vastness of the universe. I've always felt that. I feel that so hard.
No, I completely feel you on that. So my next question for you is like what message of hope did you pull from the piece that you just shared?
I think that oftentimes when we're all going through like really difficult times, the ones that we didn't see coming, and then there's all this like mental health stigma and then everything that we have to deal with as the aftermath of those things that happen. And we like normally, like, I mean, I had gotten into the habit of kind of isolating myself and thinking, oh, you're the only person that knows what this feels like. But the truth is that a lot of people are going through the same thing. So it's kind of like you just don't know, right? It's like I wasn't the only one up at that hour, but at that hour when I was up, I felt like I'd be the only person that was up at that time. So starting to wonder about like who else feels this way right now. So I guess the hope message is that everyone has an invisible tribe. There's more than you just going through what you're going through. So there's kind of a power in that. There's like this unity that you don't know it's there, but you can feel it if you try.
I like that. That's honestly really dope how you really tie that in together with, so many things like your experiences, just having hope for the future with, those unexpected things that may happen at times. Like that's honestly really great to hear. Another question I have for you is like, what is your creative process, when writing like these pieces that you do?
Honestly, it's kind of random, but most of the time I like to picture it first. I'm a visual person. So the more like I can visually see like the feeling and how that all looks, the more easily I can write stuff down.
Mm, powerful. So like, do you like let's say like you go out and like on a walk or somewhere and you just kind of see something and it just like inspires you like creatively, like, oh, this makes me think I want to write something about this. Is this kind of like what the process looks like?
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes I might not like be in that state where I'd want to write about it right away, but I write the idea down. And then one day when I'm really feeling in my feelings, I can expand on that idea.
Oh, that's dope. I'm glad to hear that. That's a very real process too, because you know inspiration can come from so many different things, and I feel like taking the time at time just to even write something down is like, oh, this inspired me, made me think of something, is definitely something cool. My last question that I have for you is, so like, are there any poets or like specific poems that like specifically inspire you?
So it's more, I mean, I like Robert Frost. It's like nature poems are really good. T.S. Eliot has a really good structure in writing. I like Atticus, which is kind of like an online writer, and Ruby Kaur I read a lot of.
Mm. I've heard of all of those poets, so like I definitely know exactly what you mean with how great they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, Nidhi, thank you so much for sharing your piece with us. We both definitely enjoyed it, and I'm sure all our viewers out here really enjoyed it as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening. And
That was great, Nidhi.
thank you, and thank you for having me once again. You guys are awesome.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome back, Elena, with some more bars for us. Let's go.
Yeah.
In California. Let's hear another one.
I was so busy listening to it that I forgot that I was going back on, but I'm ready.
Oh.
Okay, so this one I called Survival. California, can you still smell the fried wires? The starving fire from Redding's blown tires? 2 years ago, you thought you knew what desperate times meant. Chased by fire with everything your small Malibu car could carry? Grab anything that was irreplaceable or immediately necessary. Insurance, sleep, air quality? That was a later worry. Desperation appears as a burnt marshmallow white truck that almost didn't make it back. Of the blessing of time to pack your childhood scarves as impromptu face masks. Now, California, our battle is more like a deadly touch on the counter of your favorite fast food place, in the agony of painting the day away, of unemployment, of the bitter pill of misinformation, of the contortion of political rights and lefts. They attack each other like fists hurting their own body. Of social media and poisonous anger, of spending quality time with your trophy wife, an abusive sibling, or everything you love, or with no one. Of only homework, of loss of routine, of staying too long in bed. You can't fight these new times by running. Instead, you fight it by singing the chorus of Rick Warden's Never Gonna Give You Up as you lather gray lavender soap bubbles under city water for the 10th time today. This is not the same heat of a blaze of cedar trees and crisp sky. There is a heat of anger in the ever-ticking count, but there is kindness. Yes, there is safety. You remember 2 women at Home Depot who bought packs and packs of masks to give to the homeless as it rained ash. Can you do the same with your precious PPE or TP? Know that loving acts are needed both for those without and for those healing within. Fight the epidemic, I say. America needs you to stay inside, building your cat's photo album, by learning guitar and becoming a rock star, by balancing bad news and good times, by not being overwhelmed and allowing yourself a break. You deserve it. By saying I love you in a new way to those who need it, by calling your grandparents, by living in the now and not in the then what, by filling the minutes away, but through thoughtful patience and fulfilling day. That's it.
Wow. Bars.
That was deep. I like that. Okay, before you head out, we want to ask you some more questions about this one in particular. Let's see what we got. So I want to know what inspires you, and then what inspires your writing, and is is it tied together or is it two different things?
Reading. There's a really good, you can get it at Barnes and Nobles. It's like The Princess Saves Herself This Time. That one was a really good poem book. And, you know, reading things that you like, always put out time for reading. I don't do it myself, but I know I need to. And so the question was, what inspires me and what inspires my writing?
Yes.
All I know is that I have a really good support group, and that's what really helps.
Interesting. Definitely. So, do you experience any difference in how you feel about presenting this piece versus how you felt when you wrote it?
I was in a rough patch when I wrote this. Like, it was the pandemic had started, like it was 3 months in or so, and like I was driving myself crazy by staying inside, and like writing it was just like it was a release of all the bad things and trying to find the good in it. Like, what can I do? And it feels kind of now more, it's like a validation looking back. I mean, like, yeah, you know, like I didn't let it overwhelm me, and like I'm still doing this. I'm still part of the fight against the virus, and it feels more empowering to read it now than when I wrote it, because like when I wrote it, I was just like, damn, just let it all out.
That's exactly. Thank you. That's the point of the event. Okay, but here's my next question. What would you like listeners to take away from this piece?
That you're not alone. Even if you're alone in the house, like you're part of this fight. And I hope that you're doing something creative and not finding the end of Netflix like I do often. Sit down and even make a painting or like write something real quick, because it might be better than you think.
Well, Elena, I thank you so much for your participation, and you're such great writing skills and poetry.
Thank you. Like, you guys are making my day. I'll let the next person go, but have a good one.
Okay, thank you, Elena.
Thank you. All right, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and have our next performer perform a second piece for us. So again, I'll leave it up for you, Shay, so you can go ahead and perform your next piece that you have for us tonight.
No one cares until you're dead. As you're dying, they want you to leave their head. When you're born, they dream of broken cycles. As you grow, they raise you as a wise fool. It's not your fault you've been tricked. It's not your fault they made you sick. Be good, they say. Do not question this day. Be grateful for the clothes on your back. Remember where you're at. But why does home feel unsafe? Where can we go? Where must we stay? Earth, air, fire, water are all that remains for sons and daughters. Raise the crops, raise the children. So why is my fucking home running? Who built this moat of fire? Who poisoned our well? These raindrops of desire are drowning the story we have to tell. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that piece with us. So, what was your creative process writing this piece? Because obviously you shared a different one earlier, but for this one, what was it like for this one?
This was written September 12th of this year. And this was the week of one of the fires started. And it was just, I was having a really crappy day. I was just sad. Like, there was a lot of people losing their homes. I wasn't sure if I was going to get evacuated or not. And I used to be an environmental science major. So this just, because I'm really passionate about the environment, and this just stirred a lot of thoughts in my head. And with quarantine on top of that, the pandemic on top of that, I'm just thinking all these things that could have been prevented, that could have been cared more for, and just thinking of how that will affect our future generations. And I was just mad as hell when I wrote it. So I just, yeah.
No, thank you. Yeah, definitely. This year's been, quite the year. There's so many, factors that have come into play with, how everyone's pretty much going about, their daily lives. Like you said, on top of just this pandemic in general, there was, all the wildfires happening, just a few months ago that were so recent. So definitely that's great to hear that you were able to pull all that to be able to, share in such a very powerful piece. So my next question for you is, so what would you like listeners to take away from this piece that you just read?
Don't be ashamed of anger. It is an emotion, just like anything else. Uh, don't ignore it. Don't praise it either. It can be ugly, but just acknowledge it and sit with it because it's there to tell you that there's something that needs your attention. And that's, this is kind of a product of that. And I still feel it a lot, but it's, your emotions are nothing to be ashamed about. And it's okay. You're not weak for having them.
Definitely. No, that's very powerful to hear you say something. I think a lot of times everyone associates anger with like this is a bad thing, but at times, we need to really remind ourselves, anger is an emotion. It's a way we really feel things, and it can at times really, bring some things like, especially with you writing something like this is very important to you. So definitely. Another question that I have for you is like, does reading this poem out loud now feel any different than when you first wrote it?
Hmm. It kind of does. I feel like I sound way more nice about it than what was going through my head when I wrote it. So in a way, it's therapeutic for me to hear myself say it, because yeah, I'm just seeing how things progress from here now.
Totally. My last question that I have for you is, what message of hope do you hope listeners will receive from this piece that you shared?
Hmm. I read somewhere, because this was a slightly an environmentally inspired piece. I read somewhere recently that it was someone else's creative writing. It said, "We are the ancestors of our future," and that is true. So I just would like everyone to remember these things. Whether it involves your impact on your home life, the environment, your health, anywhere.
I really like that quote. Honestly, we are the ancestors for like the future. Like that is so real, and I really like that quote. I'm honestly gonna keep that in mind now with a lot of things for sure.
I wish I can remember who wrote it.
No, yeah, Shay, thank you so much for, performing again. Like both of your pieces were honestly great, and we really appreciate you sharing this with us, and let alone sharing it with all the viewers here tonight as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shay. Thank you, Shay. Y'all, so don't get out of here. Not too fast, not too fast. Stay where you at. So we got a special guest coming up shortly. Like I said, special guest here. Ours truly, Marlene. She's from Compton, California. She's coming with an original piece. I think she's ready to go. You ready, Marlene? Hear what you got? Are you ready? Let's get it. Let's hear it. Like I said, special guest here. Ours truly, Marlene. She's coming with an original piece. I think she's ready to go. You ready, Marlene?
Yes, I am, George. Thanks for the intro.
You ready? Let's get it. Let's hear it. Special guest here. Ours truly, Marlene. She's coming with an original piece. I think she's ready to go. You ready, Marlene?
Yes,
I do have little technical difficulties, Marlene. Can you hear me live? You on?
Yeah, they're like playbacking.
Yeah, she playbacked a little bit.
Your voice is good, George.
All right, I was wondering. That's what it be. It's all good, Marlene. I don't know, but so your playback is coming in a little late. I said that like a long time ago, but I guess you must have the YouTube up. So if you have the YouTube up on any other
Okay, is that better? My bad, technical difficulties, Zoom
You
live.
got it. You got it. We're ready for you.
All right, I was ready too, but technical difficulties. Thank you for the intro, George.
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. All right.
This is
Coming
my
in
poem.
from Compton, California, Marlene with an original spoken word piece. Please.
Chico, vast, limitless, golden hills, treetops branching out, creating a canopy, a home. Old-fashioned dining spots inviting you. In their window, I found myself, feeling my pockets full of luck. Reading signs, omens in front of me, I got caught. In a moment, my life, past, and future meeting. In the sky, there was also a union, flocks flying, accompanied by all my desires before me, my eyes, the lights brightening up the night. 500 miles away, I could have never dreamt this life. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. We got a few questions for you before you get out of here, Marlene. I want to try to deep dive into your poem just a bit. So, this is what I'm interested in. So, what inspires you?
I was very inspired by just my own experiences, and I was kind of reflecting in a moment where I wrote this my second year, and now I'm a third year, and I was remembering myself what it felt getting here and why I got here and where I come from and how much my mindset has grown. And I was downtown, so the part where I say my eyes, the lights brightening up the night and the flocks flying, that last stanza. I was downtown and the lights were lit and there was, I guess, birds migrating. It was cold that night, and I just tied that in because that's something very vivid. I have very vivid memories here.
So, like, within that, so what emotions inspire you the most when you're writing like your poems?
It's a lot of things that inspire me, not only emotions, but I get like very passionate and it's very like, this is my story. It's very personable to me.
So within your story, so what messages of hope would you wish listeners to receive from your piece?
To envision their own lives, to imagine, to dream, and to keep the memories they're living in right now very present, because those memories are ones that you might have already in your past have seen, have wanted to see, have wanted to feel. And you can create what you want and what you bring in and accept into your life.
Awesome. Definitely. Well, how did this poem develop?
I was actually in a creative course as well, and that's when I tapped into my creativity. I was always a writer ever since elementary school. I had journals, and middle school I started poetry, and I got back in touch and back in tune with myself that year.
Awesome. So what's different between the poems you used to make when you was a kid versus the poems that you make now?
So the ones I made as a kid were I was either angry or I was sad, and it was a way of expressing myself on paper. And now the poems just encompass me and what I'm feeling, and also the joy and the greatness and just experiences, not only when I need to write, but just feeling inspiration and that alignment within myself. So that's a huge difference from being lost to having a sense of belonging within myself.
Most definitely. Well, Marlene, I want to thank you so much for coming out and sharing your piece with us this evening. And it was tight. I liked it. I think it was really good.
Thank you, George. I really appreciate y'all for having me. This was really last minute, and sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. Thank you for everyone
No
watching.
problem. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Most definitely. Got another question for you.
All right, everyone. We're gonna go ahead, and Nidhi has come back to share another amazing piece of hers. We just couldn't get enough of you, so we needed to have you come back and share another one. But yeah, take it away, Nidhi.
All right, thank you. All right. Does my armor withstand bullets of your gaze, or is my body as see-through as a crystal vase? Please hurry and freeze your warm hands in their path. I'm still fragile to the touch. Have you fallen for my facade? My tongue is quick and bitter, but honey drips from my veins. They drop into your morning tea. You drink me in increments, carrying me inside your brown sugar smile more and more every day. Perhaps I don't have everyone fooled. Perhaps you don't scare me as much. Your coffee-colored eyes dissolve into my heart and keep my body warm without ever having touched me once. Dear future lover.
Powerful. Thank you so much for
That was-
sharing that with us. That was I really like just whenever I've noticed whenever especially with the last one and this one you can really visualize a lot of the things. You're very descriptive with how you approach your wordplay, which is honestly you got bars. Honestly, that's really dope.
Thank you so much.
So again, I'm gonna just have a few questions just to ask you. So my first question for you is, so what inspired you to write this specific poem?
Honestly, I had for a very long time, I'd kind of given up on the idea of love and romance just because I had a pretty bad experience. And then this is kind of me hoping again. I've never met the person that I wrote this about. I just hope that one day I will, and that this is how I'll feel. So what inspired me was kind of like a shift, a perspective shift, that there's light at the end of the tunnel and to keep hoping.
I like that. Keeping the hope for sure. So my next question that I have for you is, so do you notice any difference from when you were writing this compared to you just, saying this poem out loud now?
Yeah, so I feel like saying it now is really powerful because I felt kind of like it was an affirmation, like I was manifesting it for myself. So that was really cool to have a platform to do that.
Totally. Yeah, we're definitely happy that you were able to share this with us for sure. My next question for you is, so what would you like listeners tonight to take away from this piece that you just shared?
Honestly, just that there's going to be things in life that you didn't see coming. But you shouldn't give up on the idea of what you want from your life. If you wanted love from your life at a time, if you wanted companionship, something that happened should maybe, make you pause, reflect on yourself, work on yourself. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't lose who you are and what you want from life, even though the path there may change.
Yes, for sure. And keeping that, that mindset of, at times we don't have control over what happens. There's going to be stuff that happens in life that we have no control over. And it's just, making sure that we can still get through those moments and times that can be so difficult. And later on, reflecting on them. It's we made it, we kept hope, and, we just keep on pushing forward. I really like that. My last question that I have for you is, so what was the process like for this specific piece, writing it? Because I know with the last piece that you shared, and you also even shared that sometimes it's just you visualizing things and just jotting stuff down. So what was kind of like that for you with this piece specifically?
With this piece, it actually took a few tries to get it all together because it was hard to let myself hope again. So this one required me feeling hope and visualizing what that may look like in order to write it down. So it kind of came in small flashes, and then I had to kind of tie it all together and create kind of that vision again of what that might look like.
That's honestly awesome to hear. that your process through all this stuff. That's honestly really, really great. And we appreciate you not only just sharing one piece with us tonight, but sharing two with us. Like honestly, they were both great. So like thank you so much for sharing these pieces with us tonight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it
Yeah.
looks like we got I think our last performance for tonight.
Who could that be,
And
Steve?
and for our last performance, everyone, this performer, like I gotta thank this person because he's been like my right hand man this entire time tonight. Just going through this entire thing with me, and we gotta give him the spotlight. So please, everyone, I appreciate y'all being here tonight, not only just to see me, but to see this guy next to me as well. And our last performer is George Bell, and he will be doing his piece called "Cold Outside." Take it away, man.
It's so cold outside. They say they love me, but they judge me on how I live my life. I asked God why. I wasn't prepared for this fade, but still I fight. I don't care if it's right or wrong. You kill my people and swear we equal. Man, you gotta pay the price. I can't breathe. Do I have to say it twice? George Floyd, RP George Floyd. This Mayweather sunshine couldn't save you from this racist storm brought upon you when you were born. Condolences to your family. I know their hearts are torn. And for the ones that are still breathing, that have to wake up tomorrow to the same treason, let's not let our brother die for no reason. Until the color of one's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes. It's so cold outside.
That's powerful, man. I appreciate you sharing that with us, man. And I can just tell from a lot of the references that you shared in that piece that it kind of leads to my first question. It's like, what was kind of going on at the time that inspired you to write this piece specifically?
Well, that was literally like I had wrote that the day after George Floyd passed. And, it was just having to battle those emotions, at the time, it was just very rough thing to see, and to look at visually, it was just, it put a little its print on my life, definitely.
Oh, totally. I mean, because like when that happened, like it was literally on everywhere. Like you would see it like social media, on TV. You'd hear people talking about it. So I can imagine there was a lot of stuff that was hitting you at that moment.
Yeah.
For sure, man. I guess my next question now for you is, so like, do you feel different now, like when at the time when you were writing this compared to you like now sharing it?
Mhm.
Thinking like how much time has passed since that's happened.
Well, I feel like just throughout everything that's been going on, kind of just within myself, just gave me a sense of purpose, truly, and to really try to find, really try to find equity between the races, just within America and within the world. I think it's about that time. So it just inspires me, and just the poems that I create, just they just keep me going. Just give me something to do on my off time, kind of. And I really like to do it, and it just kind of inspires me to continue to move the pen forward for all of us.
No, totally, man. That's so real.
Yeah.
Like the next question, man. So like, are there any poets or like any artists that inspire you, like specifically to write down like pieces of art like this?
Well, my favorite artist is Bob Marley. But I feel like just in terms of like kind of like spoken word, poetry, hip hop, rap, I kind of like Nipsey Hussle. That's my favorite rapper, and just I like how he puts words together, and he also speaks on his experiences, and he speaks on trying to motivate people, and that's what I try to do with my pieces as well.
No, totally, man. That's great to hear that you have inspiration like that inspire you to use your voice, and then like, let alone use a platform and create a platform like the one we have today to really speak out on these really important topics, for sure.
Definitely, bro.
My last question for you, man, is so what do you hope people can take away from this piece that you wrote today?
Well, just take away that overall, just to know that it's a constant fight, in that it's not, in that we all have to come together to get something accomplished. And this goal, the goal of, racism and fixing racism, is a goal that it can't be done with only one group. It can't be done with only two groups. It has to be done with, every group of people within the country, no matter of gender, no matter of race. And that's what I believe in.
That's powerful, man. I just want to let you know I'm proud of you for sharing this piece with us tonight, and let alone being a part of creating things like what we created tonight to bring people together. Like kind of like what you said in terms of like wanting to talk about these issues, and also as a group take care of these issues. We all have to come together, and like an event like what we did tonight. I'm just proud of you for doing stuff like this, man. It's really great.
I appreciate that, Steve. I thank you also as well for tonight, man, being a great MC. I love being right alongside you tonight. Before we get up out of here, I just want to thank you. I want to thank everyone who tuned in, everyone who was a part of the program. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I would also like to give a special thanks to everyone responsible for making this event possible. I believe it's very important to highlight the resilience in yourself and allow others to learn from your story. To me, my life is a poem, something that arouses strong emotions because of its beauty. Without failing, bouncing back would have little pleasure. This event is close to my heart. I'm very thankful that I've shared this space with you all, with an opportunity to express yourself. I would like to give Steve an opportunity to say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, honestly, I just want to thank everyone, all our performers, everyone, all our partners, and everyone who really came together to, make this event possible for, our Wildcats. And, right now it's very difficult, with what we're kind of going through at times. And we may, at times, maybe not, we feel alone. We feel like we don't have those outlets out there to be able to express ourselves. And we just want to thank everyone for being a part of this and just giving our students the opportunity to, like what George said, really be real, be creative, express themselves, because that's important. That's really important to all of us. And then as well, just the last thing I want to let y'all know is before y'all leave today from our event, if y'all can do us a favor and fill out a survey, I'll go ahead and put the link on the live stream chat right now. Your feedback, everyone tonight who viewed this, is very important to us, and letting us know how we can continue to have great events like this for y'all, because we want to continue creating these amazing events for all of y'all. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone, and just want to say keep believing, keep creating, keep speaking, keep speaking out. That's important to all of us.
Thank y'all.
It's okay. No matter where you find yourself